Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Art with Kenneth. I'm artist Kenneth Lewis Sr., and again, welcome. Art with Kenneth is a podcast that will have art discussions as well as demonstrations, me showing you some of the different processes and materials I use to create some of my artwork, some previously created series and some up and coming series, which is actually what you're going to see today. I haven't even decided what I'm going to name this series. I've been like kind of torn. I wanted the name "When People Make the World Go Round" because they got all these people in them that I'm creating, but it's like all these other things are coming to my head, so I'm just going to leave that open. So I'm not sure what the actual name of the series will be at this point. But it's funny that I say point because all of the images have these little pointy feet like this. These are two partially done pieces right now, and but you have to see how I start them, and I start them all different ways, and they're all different sizes, from 48 by 48 down to 16 by 20, and this right here are a couple of frames that was given to me, and they have pictures on the inside. So actually they were green, these frames just like this. So I'm actually going to I'm using the frames, and I just painted over the picture that was on there to create it. And there's a lot of materials that go into these pieces. There's collage work in it, and again, those are partially done, but you got to see how I start them. So hold on a second. So basically what you see here is this is a lot of time when I'm painting, I have like a panel. This is a panel board that was taken from out of a frame I got from the Goodwill. And so I took the panel out, I used the frame for something else, and I used the panel to paint on. And sometimes I'll paint on the panels and I'll put them back in, but I also use them as palettes as I'm painting, or I just use them to clean my brushes off as I'm doing a piece of artwork. So I was doing a piece of artwork, and I just was cleaning my brush before I put it in the water to wipe it off. I would always wipe it on here. And so this is how these images start, with this, and they also start this way here. This is where I had paint on two panels, stuck them together, and then pulled them apart, and you can see how it pulled some of the paper off, and it starts really rough. And so once I get it like this, or very colorful the way you saw it, so this is the other way. You got the colorful way, and then you have this way. Then this is one where I started to carve out images, but I got a little ahead of myself. I need to show you this one first. So you can see I take the chalk and start to put the figures in, and then rather soft pastel, and then I start to create this image using the soft pastel. And so you can see how this one is using a little bit of white acrylic paint with the soft pastels and the oil pastel. And so I start carving out the images like this. So after I've carved them out, this is the next process I go through, is putting the different paints in, the collage work, starting to create backgrounds. Again, these are only about 75% done. And then you can see here, this is further along. And you can see how they're all coming out. And this is further along. And this is further along. So they're all, again, anywhere from, some of them are like 25% done up to maybe 60-70% done. And because I have so much more I'm going to add into each piece. And you got to see some of the bigger ones. Some are in oil, and some of those will get done with oil painting as well. So I hope you enjoy this little demo I'm going to do to show you this stuff, and much love.
Okay, We have some oil pastel sticks here. Right next to that, we have some soft pastel, some crayon, some chalk, soft pastel, illustration markers, acrylic pens, gel pens. Obviously, we have the H2O, very necessary, and the coffee. Snuck that in there. And then over here on this table here, we have a bunch of different size brushes, scissors, some pre-mixed colors I've done already, some gel medium, palette knives, and just more paint here. As you can see, there's a kind of a large area I'm working in. I have 2 stations here as well where I can paint on these 2 canvases here. Always have my mannequin around in here too. It's changed every season. Then there's a bunch of collage material here, fabric, paper, blow dryer. I like to kind of work kind of quickly, so sometimes I'm using the blow dryer to get things dried up pretty quick. Took a sip of my coffee. Excuse me. As you see me here, I'm actually sketching out the images. So from the abstracted form I had there, I decide on what images I'd like to bring forth. And then I'll come over with some soft pastel and start to outline the images and start to kind of outline the sky. As you can see, the figures are starting to come in view right now. And this is all going to be gone over with paint or oil paint, acrylic paint, or what's right at the tip of my tongue? Oil pastel. So right now I'm going over these pieces, like the actual bodies, the legs, with the oil pastel. This series right here, they have these little pointed feet, and I think it's pretty cool. It's something I, just sitting messing around with one day and decided to come up with these figures. I'm always taking and excuse me, cleaning my brush on either a canvas or a panel, and then I'll create something off that. This time I put a matte board around there because this one will be inside a frame. It'll be matted, so I kind of drew out the lines where the matte border is going to be. And again, I'm sketching out the images as you can see here. Sometimes I use oil pastel to sketch out the outline of images, and then sometimes just regular chalk or soft pastel. Right now I'm filling inside the legs. I'm actually using soft pastel with the bodies and everything here, and then a little bit of oil pastel in a couple of spots, but most of that is the soft pastel, which is what I'm doing. This kind of like the sky area here, and the same thing here, the soft pastel down here at the bottom. So put the map board back around here, just look at it. Now I'm working with right here. If you see, I'm pulling from the right where there's the oil pastel, and I'm flipping through, seeing the next one I want to do. There's a bunch of them here, and I work pretty fast. What I try to do is I'll sit down for, let's say, I'll say 3 hours I have paint. I'll set a timer, and then at the end of that 3 hours, whatever I did in that 3 hours, that's just what I was able to get done in that 3 hours. And I set the timer. When it goes off, then I stop. But until then, I just continue to work. And I find I get a lot more done. That way I'm committed to those 3 hours, and I, just disconnect from the world. You see right here on my website, KJL Art Sanctuary, please, when you have the opportunity, log into my website, check it out. On this particular one, after I sketched that, I'm actually using some acrylic paint right now, and just putting on everyone in this particular one is going to have on white. Not sure what I want to do with the rest of the scene, but here I go again, sketching out another, just drawing out where all the images are going to go on this one here. And again, this one is one of those ones where they stuck together and you pull it off and it pulls off part of the paper, so it's got a little bit more texture to it. Most likely we'll come over this with oil paint over one of these that were some of the paper like peeled off and stuck to each other, because sometimes when I do the colors, I'll just have paint on both pieces of panel board, and then I'll just push them together and step on it. And then sometimes I just pull it right up, and then colors are the way they are. And sometimes I let them stay for a while, start to stick a little bit, and then pull them apart. And that way paper will get shared between the two. They'll tear, each other apart essentially, and take some from each other. Kind of give and a take, I guess. So here I am again, and I'm putting some oil pastel on. I'm definitely going to do this one in oil because I started putting a lot of heavy oil pastel. So here's another. I'm drawing it out, and this looks like this is going to be like some little ballerinas I'm going to have over here on this one here. And looks like there'll be some people over on this side watching the ballerinas or talking with them. I'm not sure what's going to be the end story. But here you have another process. Now I've already sketched this one out, already put the soft pastel on. Now I'm coming up with acrylic paint and starting to cut in with some acrylic paint. There's going to be multiple layers on all these. That's why it may look like I'm almost done on some of them, but there's going to be multiple layers. So I'm mixing that oil pastel with that was actually chalk that was on there, and the chalk on the top. So again, it's not oil pastel rather, but acrylic paint with the chalk, and up top same thing. That was a chalk that was up there, and so I'm mixing it in. And there's a little tree. There's a tree off to the side over here. I'm gonna have some naked branches going above them, and as you can see, I'm cutting in the area I had drawn out with the oil pastel and the branch, and with the acrylic paint. I'll go with the base of acrylic and come over top of any oil paint. I'll come over top of acrylic. I don't want to put the acrylic on top of oil paint. So as you can see, I've kind of changed everything here. This won't even stay this way. The colors and everything will change a lot. The ground will change multiple times. The sky will change multiple times. And there'll be multiple layers on this. So you can see I've got to this point now. I'm kind of defining the trees a little bit more here. I'm doing this with some acrylic paint right now. And I'm going to finish it off with either oil pastel or straight oil paint over the top of the tree. I want this one to have a lot of texture to it, this particular piece right here. So I'll just rapid fire between each one. I get in a mode. I'll either have some nice music on, or maybe listening to a lecture, or just whatever. But just whatever gets me kind of in the mood. Uh, Nothing I really have to look at. It's just listening at this point. And then sometimes just in basic silence. Okay, so you can see here again, I'm coming up with a little bit more of a lime green on top of like kind of a had a hunt not like quite a hunter green. It was kind of diluted a little bit, like a more like a blue teal green I had, like a moss green. Let me put it that way. So this right here is more of like a kind of like a lime green, has a little bit more of a yellow to it. See here, and that's another layer. But it's going to change from this to, I kind of defined a little bit of horizon line. I don't know if there'll be buildings there. So now I'm taking a little bit of the acrylic paint here, and this one on the end. I'm showing you here at this point on how I take like paint. At this point I had to stop. I had an appointment. I had to kind of stop, and so I put the brush, painted on that particular panel board, rather, you saw there. So here I am back again. When I put the colors down, when I'm putting the soft pastel and the chalk on it, I'm kind of working with my color palette at that point, even though it may not be those exact colors, but I'm starting to formulate the colors that are going to be there, as well as the composition, figuring out the color scheme I'm going to have as well. And it's not even me trying to think about it hard. I just start pulling the colors and getting a feel for them, and getting a feel for how it looks to my eye. And hopefully it resonates with someone else, and they look at it find some joy and pleasure in it. So as you can see, I'm moving along here, still using the acrylic paint at this point. And see, every layer I put on, it does a little something extra to it, because I'm really starting to find a piece. And find a piece is not, it's the piece within the piece, the P-E-A-C-E within the piece, P-I-E-C-E. So I love doing this. Yeah, so I'm gonna do some work, have some workshops that I'll be posting for anyone that's interested in coming and creating one of these pieces here at the studio themselves, or any other project here. Also rent the studio out for paint parties, birthday parties as well. So here's some gel medium I have. I kind of use that to glue the collage pieces. As you think, I'm starting to put the collage work in pieces of papers, colored papers, magazines, fabric. It's all being put on now. I've got pieces for leather legs or jacket. So there's a variety of spots I make do a hat, whatever. But you can see the collage work coming in now. And again, that's some gel medium I put there to matte finish. And so I've got all my pieces down there. On the far end, that's a piece of fabric on the legs there. The others are some heavy paper, different designs on it, with 3 of the other ladies right there. And I put some hats on them. So as you can see, I'm working, cutting around again the collage work I just put in with another layer of the lime green down. And now we're coming in here and I'm starting to put some little, I don't even want to call it grass, because I don't know if I want it to actually be grass. I just want it to be a bunch of colors. I guess it's going to be grass, but it's going to be like, when I get finished, it'll look more like, probably, like, how can I put it? Oh, packing M&Ms. So it'll probably look like a bunch of M&Ms on the ground. But I have my first few, couple of layers on there, and as you can see, I'm putting another green on there. I had like hunter green, and remember the lime green was kind of still wet when I put it down. So now this hunter green. So I got basically 3 different greens down here right now, and I'm gonna stop at that point. Let that dry before I start putting some more other colors. Probably be like autumn light see at this point. Got the cool butterfly. And I don't even know if I want to say this is someone there that's just dressed in costume or something that's buzzed. I'm not sure. But gotta give her a little character. So you can see it's a steady flow, back and forth. And like I told you, things change. As you can see, cutting the figures in more. I haven't really worked on any of the faces on either of the figures. So right now, I'm cutting the ceiling, cutting the sky in, and cutting the ceiling. Cut the sky, and so I really like the blue, the way it's looking right now. I'm really excited with the blue. As I was doing it, I knew that I would put that blue in there, but I wanted to get a more peachy color underneath first, but it's of that kind of peach through. You probably see it more up close. You'll see that you see a little bit of the peach color coming through with spots. So at this point right here, I'm starting to do a little bit of embellishing on the clothing that they have on, put some accents on, fine tuning like things like that. You see I'm working on the outfit on again. Then I come down here, second coat of dress, and her this hat, accent to her dress. Shape as well. I wonder if any of you ever paint like this. It's fun mixing the collage work with the paint. And you can see I given that lady there with the gray dress there, giving her a nice hat, some work on her hair. As you can see, I'm starting to work with a little bit of black work. They all have black hair, so kind of finessing everyone's hair. Some of them it'll be similar ethnicity. Some will be multiple ethnicities. Some will have black hair, gray hair, red hair. So there's 50 paintings in the entire series, and they're all going to be from the same family but different. So again, I'm working on a tree right now, putting a little bit more accents in. I think I put in yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and a brown paint in the tree there as I'm creating the tree. Then I'm going back to the figures, probably used a little bit of the burnt sienna I had there, mixed with a little bit of black, and some more accent work. I'm sorry, I have some in my throat and I don't have water right next to me. I have to finish this podcast. So we're toughing it out. The only water I have is like those buckets of water that are there. Pulled out. Yes. Again, some more accent work. Yes, and it's really fun doing these, and just thinking of all the different types of backgrounds I can put in. There's some really, really cool backgrounds. I have some already. And especially the large ones in the back. I can't wait to show the large ones. There's 5 of those. They're really nice. So it's like almost coming down to the wind down of the video here on this. Just when I get to this point, start being a little bit more in slow motion, a little bit more in the fine tuning that I want for each one of the figures. It's a blessing to be able to do this. It's a blessing to be able to share it with you. It's a blessing that you're here even watching it. I'm really grateful and I appreciate it. And please support my podcast channel. It's KJL Art Sanctuary Podcast. That's where we have artist interviews, etc. And then we have Art with Kenneth Podcast. And again, this is one of the pieces that is just about finished. And again, here's our website, kjlartsanctuary.com. Art with Kenneth Podcast on YouTube. And please like, share, and subscribe. Again, thanks for watching. I'm grateful.